morning, wake and takers. How are we doing? We're in spooky season. I just realized right before going live, apparently, I got a pumpkin on the desk. Got to give my kids thank you for that one to keep me prepped and ready for Halloween, for fall, for October. Spooky season is here. Not only do I got a pumpkin on my desk, I did it, guys. Official. I got the wake and take mug going. It's been too long. I've been doing this for too long, and I've been telling Jason I'm going to get this mug for too long, but we're here. Good morning. How we doing? How we doing, everyone? It is week 5 of the NFL, week 5 of fantasy football, and really, like, this is kind of make or break for some of these teams, and we have just been eviscerated with big teams on buys. We got Atlanta with a bunch of high-powered weapons. We have Green Bay with Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love on bye. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who randomly had a couple weeks here and there with DK and Kenny Gainwell, and we're just really Chicago as well. Chicago's got a bunch of like fringy startable guys, and then Rome Odunze. So we're short already in terms of just like some quality plays, and then all of a sudden we get a bunch of random running back injuries just dumped in our lap, and it's like, whoa, everything looked fine on Monday. What the hell is going on? It's safe to say that not everything is fine right now heading into week 5. I put it on Twitter with my announcement here that it looks like some of our rosters are going through 12 rounds with Ivan Drogo, and we just need to throw in the damn towel. But we don't do that here. We don't give up. We just keep going. We look to the waiver wire. We look for trades. We're wheeling and dealing. We're trying to find these guys that are going to save our week, save our season, save our roster. Alex, good morning. How we doing? Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, we grind. That's exactly it. We grind. I'm going to put that up on the screen because that's exactly what we do. It feels tough. It feels gross looking at some of these names and some of these guys that I'm going to talk about today. It's not going to feel great, but everyone else is there's a lot of people in the same situation as you, so we can commiserate here. A vacation got ruined by neighbors. Oh, hopefully you were on a vacation where you were able to drink a little bit extra because of it. I hear you there. I mean, neighbors, Lamar, Tyreek Hill, just we're losing some big names left and right, and then gonna jump right into it now this morning with Oktoberfest. So yeah, you were definitely able to you're at least able to compensate there for the pain, the mental anguish going through of a neighbor's injury with extra beer. So pros to that. Welcome back. I hope you had a great time, man. That sounds awesome. It's one of those things that I've always wanted to do, and it'll happen eventually, just a bit later than I originally intended, but no worries there. Hope you had a blast. Welcome back stateside, and hopefully week 5 treats you a bit better. As always, guys, if you want to keep up with me, keep up with Player Profiler and all of the Profiler news team, be sure to follow me over at Twitter at JOwens_FF, over at TikTok, and start picking that back up at JOwensFF. And for the Profiler Now page, it's at Profiler_Now over on Twitter and right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you got the notifications going because we got shows daily. We even got the Sunday tailgate with the Dynasty D-Gens. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff going around, a lot of different takes flying around. So make sure that you are following, make sure that you're liking the videos that you're watching so that way we can keep doing what we're doing. I appreciate you guys for everything as always. And let's jump right into it. I see we already got a question in the chat here from Vic. Should I trade Chase Brown and Trey Tucker for Rashee Rice in a 12-man half PPR league? You got CD Moore, I'm assuming DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, Xavier Worthy, Trey Tucker. You dropped Christian Kirk for Demercado. Trading Chase Brown and Trey Tucker for Rashee Rice. I don't mind that. I think you should go ahead and do that. You I mean, you already have Xavier Worthy, so you'll be doubled up at that point. But I think that that's perfectly fine as long as you're okay at running back. I know Chase Brown hasn't done anything, so getting anything for Chase Brown right now, and a guy like Trey Tucker, who was probably a waiver wire pickup or at least a late round stash that you've held on to, I think that's a good move here, especially since you've burned 4 weeks of Rashee Rice's suspension. So you're almost there. So I think that's a good move here as long as you got the running back stability. Like I said, I know Chase Brown hasn't been good, and this probably isn't the turnaround week. So getting out now is probably the best while he's got the tiniest little sliver of name brand left. So I agree with you there. I think that's a good move. We'll jump over to GPDC before we jump into the Thursday night preview. Start one flex. We got Darius Slayton, Kendrick Bourne, or Tongs. Oh, I'm going Slayton there for the big play. Kendrick Bourne has not been inspiring in this role. He's already he's had opportunity to do something, and he really hasn't. Tongs isn't bad because he's shown that he's a red zone target, but how often is San Francisco going to be in the red zone today? I don't like it. I'd rather go with Slayton. I think that there's more chance for points in that game for New York, so I'm gonna go with Slayton there. It's pretty gross. Vic, you say you got James Cook, Chuba, Jordan Mason, Chase Brown, and Demercado. Yeah. I would with James Cook, Chuba, and Mason as some anchors there at the running back position, I would 100% ship Chase Brown out for anything right now. And worst case, you make another move where you bring another running back in. But I'm doing that move for sure. But like I said, we got the Thursday night game tonight. It's gonna be San Francisco and the LA Rams. Last that I checked, which was before all of the the injury designations, this was a Rams -5, 47.5 over under. Let me go ahead and just pull up what we're looking at now, because I know for a fact that's changed and I just have not updated myself. We're looking at Rams -8 over under of 45. And I don't see a way that San Francisco stays competitive. In this one, the Rams are cooking right now. The Rams are looking good. And yeah, the San Francisco defense is a little bit better than we were kind of expecting. It's just kind of what they do. But I do believe that this is going to just be a little bit of a smackdown here, especially short week. These games aren't pretty regularly, and now we're dealing with a plethora of backups for San Francisco. So I truly think that this is just going to be a Rams smackdown. I would definitely be leaning Rams -8, and I'm hesitant I would say under 45. It's such a low line that I feel like the Rams could force it to go over just because they're going to be rolling. They're going to want to make a statement here against in-division rivals. So I'm not really confident on the over-under, but I'm definitely going Rams -8 there. Talking about the injuries for San Francisco, we have here Brock Purdy, Jauan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall all ruled out. Purdy came in with a sore toe. He missed weeks 2 and 3 with that turf toe. So he comes out of the game on Sunday, comes into the estimated practice on Monday as a DNP. Tuesday, Wednesday, DNPs complaining about some toe soreness. So I definitely think that this is an issue that's going to kind of linger on. And it's not the worst thing that they're not rolling Purdy out there with Jennings, who injured his ribs, still dealing with the shoulder injury. And then Ricky Pearsall with a feared, I think it was PCL injury. Not sure on what the timetable is for them to come back, but we do know that we are out without those 3 in week 5 here. So adjust accordingly. We got Mac Jones in the backfield. We got Demarcus Robinson. We got Kendrick Bourne, Tongs. Like, those are the starters for the San Francisco 49ers today. So if it is not someone named Christian McCaffrey, I am not looking to start them in tonight's game. The Rams defense is good. The Rams defense is a good pass rush, a good pass defense. They're just quietly under the radars. I feel like I don't know how they're so quietly under the radar doing things that no one's like scared of them yet, but I'm scared of the Rams defense right now, especially when you just got a litany of injuries and nothing but backups in there. So you start CMC, but outside of that, nope. Not going to do it. Let's go ahead and take a peek back at the chat here. Should I trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for Debo? A 26 second, a 27 first, and a 28 first. Currently in a rebuild, just lost neighbors. You're 0-4. Honestly, for that amount of firsts, I say go for it. I don't know what Debo really does for you. It's kind of a I wouldn't really want to be getting Debo in that deal just because if your rebuild is in a spot where you're trying to go in the next year or so, or you want to just flip Debo again later, like go for it. But I would do that. I mean, you're getting 2 firsts here and a second for Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think that's good value. We still don't know if he's going to have the full breakout. We don't know if he's going to be a bust for his expectations that were set. So I think that getting 2 firsts for him is still a great deal there. So I would probably do that in a full rebuild here, especially if you're just waiting for neighbors next year. I think that's fair. And who knows? You could always reach back out and get Marv later down the road. So I'd probably do that. Alex got a question. If you need to pick up a wide receiver in a standard league, gross, would you go Kupp, Kirk, or Slayton? Oof. Well, we got Kupp versus Tampa. We got Kirk. Christian Kirk is up against Baltimore, which is a good matchup, but he's just not really a standard type wide receiver that I'm looking for. And then we got Slayton. Wow. I probably lean Christian Kirk. He's got the best matchup out of all of this, and I do expect Houston to try to exploit that with all of the injuries on Baltimore. I don't know if we really get the shootout style game, but I think I'm going to go with Kirk there. I'm going to go Kirk. The standard really makes this gross. Like if it was even half PPR, it's Kirk all day. But the fact that it's full standard kind of makes me a little bit iffy. But until I see what Jackson Dart looks like with the passing game, I'm a little bit hesitant to start like a Wandale or a Slayton. And Kupp is just, he's had 1 good game and he's had just 3 no shows. So definitely think that I go Kirk there. Dennis, good morning. How we doing? Cheers. We are doing amazing today. Hope you're doing great as well. Welcome in. We got one more before we jump back to the news. We got Flex 1 from GPDC. We got Bill Krosky. We got Darius Slayton, or we got Troy Franklin. I'm going Troy Franklin there. I really like what Troy Franklin's been doing. I get it. He didn't have the stats that you wanted last week, but he's running this. He's out there. He's the clear number 2 right now. I get it. Mims got the rushing touchdown last week, but last week was a straight up tune-up game for the Denver Broncos. They were more game planning and prepping and trying to get people into a groove for this Philadelphia game this week. But Troy Franklin was out there. He was getting tons of routes. He was getting tons of targets still. I think he had 8 targets. I'm pretty sure it was 8 targets. So I definitely think that Franklin is the play there. I think he's just solidified himself as the number 2 behind Courtland Sutton. So that's really where I'm sticking. If anyone dropped him in your leagues, go scoop him up because I really like what Troy Franklin's been doing out there. It's not showing up in the stats as much, but I mean, yeah, 8 targets, 4 for 58. So it wasn't great last week, but there was a couple shots there taken, and then we know he was quiet in the Chargers game, but he's consistently out there. Was at 60% snaps again. I think that was mostly just because of the fact that it was Cincinnati. They were just trying to get some of these guys that were struggling a little bit into a groove. I think Troy Franklin is the number 2 right now, and I think that this is a matchup that they're going to have to be passing. So I'm sticking Troy Franklin there. I don't have enough confidence in Bill Krosky or Slayton yet until we see it. Alex, you originally picked up Malik Washington, but second guessing. I think it's tough between Washington and Christian Kirk. I think that Kirk is the safer bet. We know that the targets for Miami are going to have to go somewhere, but with Tyreek Hill out, but I got a strong feeling that that's going to be Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller slots right into the Jonnu Smith role from last season. He played just a little bit and he got 4 targets, 2 of them in the red zone, in the end zone. So I think that as long as Waller is physically able to do more, he's going to be out there doing more because Tua loves where Waller's running routes, and that's where I'm kind of looking. So I think Christian Kirk is definitely the safer option out of those guys. Bouncing back to the news, though, I talked about a little bit. We got some surprise injuries coming out here. Talked about it on Tuesday. We didn't have really any information on Tuesday about it, but Bucky Irving was in crutches, was on crutches and in a walking boot. He got an MRI on, what was it, Monday or Tuesday, and we're all like, what happened there? Like, what? I thought he was like, he seemed fine. He finished the game. He finished the game strong. But right now he is quote unquote day to day with a chance to play per head coach Todd Bowles. I don't know how much I trust that because again, he's on crutches in a walking boot at practice, but something we just got to keep an eye on all the way up until Sunday. If you were able to stash Rachaad White or Sean Tucker, you just got to kind of hold them until Sunday to decide what you're going to do. So you can't really make a firm decision until you know what's going on with Bucky. I think that no matter what, even if Bucky does play, Rachaad White is at least still flexible because I don't think that Bucky will get the full allotment of snaps and opportunities if he's dealing with this injury. So I think Rachaad White is one of those guys where you can play him no matter what on Sunday. Where he ends up fully depends on what Bucky does. So really, again, just keep an eye out there. And I like Rachaad White this week regardless. And then Sean Tucker, obviously, if Bucky is out, is a flex worthy play as well. We've seen Sean Tucker kind of take more of the between the tackles, rushing downs, like first and second down work, while White is the primary pass catching back. So we've seen these guys kind of balance. We've also seen White just completely dominate. So that's why I'm confident in White no matter what. And then Tucker is very much dependent on Bucky. The other surprise running back injury that we have here comes from Arizona, and it's Trey Benson. He went from quietly questionable. He was, quote unquote, dealing with the knee injury from the Thursday night game. They didn't have to report anything, obviously, because they didn't practice till Monday. And it was just like, oh, he missed practice with some, it was a bonus practice. He missed it with a knee injury, but there was no indication to severity. There was no, like, it was questionable. It was a questionable whatever. So they're like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be out there. And then all of a sudden, yesterday comes and bam, IR, gone, 4 games. What the hell? So we've gone from James Conner done for the season. Trey Benson comes in for 1 game, kind of disappoints and disappears. And all of a sudden he's on the IR for 4 weeks. So now we're stuck with Emari Demercado, who got the touchdown on Thursday. We have Michael Carter, who we've seen fill in as a primary 1A back in the for this team. And we also have Zonovan Knight, who is kind of more of just, he's going to be a breather back type guy. I don't think that it's going to be a full like 30-30-30 split. I think we see we see a lot of Demercado, we see a lot of Michael Carter, and then we'll see a little bit of Bam Knight sprinkled in there. But it's really, if I'm looking to start one of these guys, I think I'm looking at Emari Demercado. It's a good matchup, so I think one of these guys is going to be good, and I think it's going to be Demercado. We saw him in there on Thursday. He was working the 2-minute drill. He was working all of the passing situations. So I think that he's the safest play because he's the most trusted back out of these 3. I do think that Michael Carter is going to be at least the first and second down type guy. So I don't think that it's going to be Demercado bell cow. I think that we're going to see a pretty even split, like a 40-40-20, maybe like a 45-45-10 split out of these guys of Demercado, Carter, and Knight. So I think, again, stash both of them. Start Demercado with a decent bit of confidence here. And then if you're really desperate, I would say Michael Carter would be a good take. Keep an eye on the practice reports. Keep an eye on what we hear from the coaches. There was an interview yesterday with Michael Carter where he said it's crazy to go from practice squad player of the week to starting. So maybe he knows something that isn't really being talked about a lot in terms of like what it is. Like maybe he is the 1A primary and Demercado stays in his role that he's at. Like we don't really know until we see it. But I am kind of sticking with Demercado just because he did kind of get that offense going last week, filling in the 2-minute and the hurry up offense. I ran a poll on it on the Profiler Now page, and it says it looks like we are getting a wave of backup running backs with Bucky Irving in a boot and Trey Benson on IR. I asked you guys, who are you most likely to plug into your lineup for Week 5? It was Demercado, Rachaad White, Michael Carter, Sean Tucker, and everyone was kind of on the same page as me, where Rachaad White is the one that we are looking for there with 58% of the votes. Demercado and Michael Carter, very close though, 18.6 versus 12% of the votes, and that's out of 440 votes, so that's a decent amount of votes there. And then Sean Tucker bringing up the rear of 10.7. Let me know what you guys think in the chat here. Obviously, I think White's going to be the number one, but between like Demercado, Carter, who are you guys feeling? Because I feel like that's a little bit of a tougher situation to read right now. So if you had to take a pick, would you want to start Emari Demercado like me, or would you be leaning more towards Michael Carter? It's a toughie. It's a good matchup. So it's one of those things where this is a week winning decision right here that you can make. So let me know what you think here. If you're watching this after the live, let me know what you think in the comments so we can go ahead and see who's right out of this one. We'll bounce back over to the chat here. I got Frizzy LL. We got Jauan Johnson, Harold Fannin, or Mason Taylor rest of season. Woo, rest of season. I think I got to stick with Jauan Johnson. That's so tough because we don't know what the New Orleans tight end room is going to look like right now. We don't know what the New Orleans Saints quarterback situation is going to look like for the rest of the season. We could see a switch to Shuck with the fact that New Orleans can't win a game to save their life right now. And we've just seen the switch over my next little bit of news. We've seen the switch from Flacco to Dillon Gabriel, who might have a better connection with Harold Fannin because they did rookie camp together. They worked more with the twos together. So there might be a secret connection there. And then Mason Taylor had a little bit of a showing out, but he's not quite in that range where I'm ready to lock him in over these guys. I probably still stick with Jauan. I have it in the order that you have it now, where I stick with Jauan, Fannin, and then Taylor last. But honestly, if these guys stay on your waiver wire and one of them starts to break away, don't be afraid to pivot because these guys are all just in that same clump to me of good targets, good upside, but just no consistency. So stay fluid, but I think Jauan's your safest bet there. We got a question here. Planning on rebuilding at least 1 to 2 years. My wide receiver lineup without it's a two. That's not actually a question. Sorry about that. Without Neighbors is Marvin Harrison Jr. and LK. Yeah, you definitely need to start looking at the rebuild there. Try to sell if you got any running backs or tight ends that are aging. Go ahead and sell them for some picks or some youngins. And I mean, with a core of Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., you'll be a little bit quicker than you think there if you can just get some flips there. Frizzy LL, you got Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis. Did you drop Isaiah Davis to get Malik Washington or Jalen Coker? I don't think I would. If you need to plug in a Malik Washington this week, sure. I think that Breece Hall is going to be the bell cow right now. I think that it's going to be all Breece all the time. And Isaiah Davis slots right into what we've seen Braylon Allen be for the past 4 weeks, which is pure handcuff. We start to see him get a little bit more work in week 4, but I don't think that that's going to be the case with Isaiah Davis. I think that they're just going to kind of stick with Breece for now. I like Malik. I like the prospect of Malik Washington. I think that there's obviously the opportunity in Miami there, and Jalen Coker is coming back soon. We haven't really seen that slot role perform except for the one random week 2 out of Hunter Renfrow. So maybe Coker can step in and be a spark. But right now, the wide receiver play is just, or the quarterback play in Carolina is just so gross that I don't know that it's really worth it. If you need a wide receiver for the next week or 2, I would say go ahead and grab Malik Washington, dropping Isaiah Davis there. As I said earlier, with the Harold Fannin question, Dillon Gabriel has been announced as the starter for the Cleveland Browns in week 5, going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Another international game here. And we were told at the beginning of the season that the Flacco era was not on a short leash. It was pretty short because he couldn't get anything going there. So definitely think that we see a major downgrade for all of the pass catchers, but Judkins is just guaranteed work. And he's got a great matchup this first week to kind of just be a shield for Dillon Gabriel, where Gabriel's not going to have to push the ball crazy. He's not going to have to do anything crazy. He's just going to have to hand the ball off like 20 something times. We saw Kenny Gainwell just run all over the Minnesota Vikings. And I think that the Cleveland defense is going to keep Minnesota and Carson Wentz in check, because that offensive line beat up to hell. Myles Garrett is just doing Myles Garrett things. I mean, that's a scary man on a mission, and is one of the only bright spots on this Cleveland team. So I think that this is very much going to be a in the mud type of game, where we have Judkins touching the ball 25 times to keep the pressure off of Dillon Gabriel here. And I think all of these pass catchers get a huge knockdown, just because the ceiling is just not going to be there, and the floor gets much lower, because I don't think that they're going to have Dillon Gabriel out there throwing the ball 40 something times a week. I mean, we saw Flacco 35 attempts. We've seen Flacco with 45, 36, and 34. I don't think that they're going to do that with Gabriel. I think he's going to top out around 30 pass attempts, and that's if they're playing from behind. I think that's very much that's the high end if they're having to do it. So I think that very much it's going to be a Judkins game, and I think that it's going to be a gross game for fantasy football in general outside of Kinshawn Judkins. So not really looking to do anything there. Coming back here to Frizzy. Running back room is Breece, Chase, Travion, Woody, Tyjae, Rashad Smith, and Isaiah Davis. Feel like I have a lot of running backs. I'm starting to yeah. In that situation with that amount of running backs, like even if Breece Hall goes down, he's not really, Isaiah Davis isn't slotting into your lineup. So I have no problem dropping him to try to help out your wide receiver room with a Malik Washington. I think that's the move right now, because you could probably use him this week over a Darius Slayton. They're kind of in that same boat where you don't know what the target share is going to look like with the new opportunity for Malik and the new quarterback situation and new opportunity for Slayton. I think I'd rather go with Malik here over Coker, and maybe even over Darius Slayton for the starting lineup right now. So you definitely need the wide receiver help, and I would definitely do that. Drop Isaiah Davis for that. Well, that's all that I really had for the news. I know there's probably some other stuff out there, but I can't wrap my brain around it right now. But going to be jumping into the week 5, the start sits for each position, doing the same thing that I did last week. Felt like that worked really well. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. But really kind of looking to show you guys, I put my first set of rankings out there. Bradley Stalder from Player Profiler, Man versus Machine. He reached out and let me know that I should apply and put my rankings out there on the Fantasy Pros website. So I reached out, I did the application process, I did it, and I'm working my way towards next year's expert consensus rankings accuracy contest. So I'm going to be putting out my weekly rankings on Fantasy Pros. Still trying to figure out how to find them on the website, but when I do, I'll let you guys know so you can watch along with me, keep me accountable, and let me know if I'm getting a little crazy. But looking to join that next year. So I put out my first set of rankings, and I'm going to be taking a look at some guys that I have ranked higher or lower compared to the ECR on Fantasy Pros. And honestly, some of these guys are guys that we're going to take advantage of in DFS. I've been talking about it the past couple of weeks, but on Fast Draft, we have the drafting Flex 6 Frenzy, which I love. That's what I'm going to be going back to for week 5 here. All the Sunday games, snake draft, 3rd round reversal. You pick your 6 guys, you apply your boosters, and you just have a blast with it. Came close last week, but just couldn't quite do it. Like I said, Devonta Smith and the Raiders just let me down, but I'll be back again. And you better believe that you'll be seeing some of these guys here in my lineup. If you are going to join me in the Flex 6 Frenzy, or if you want to do the Quick 6 Super Slam, go over to Fast Draft and use code JOWENSFF to get a $50 deposit match. Would love to see you guys in the on the leaderboard there. And we'll be going over, like I said, we'll be going over some guys that might be a little bit sneakier, or you might just want to avoid in this draft. But to talk a little bit more about Fast Draft and the Flex 6 Frenzy contest, here is the Podfather.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops. because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Please join me in the Flex 6 frenzy. I love it. It's fun. Like I said, it's super quick. You knock out a couple drafts, bing bang boom. Like I said, I love the boosters. I love getting to just like play around with that, because that's just like you and the thing is, you don't have to play around. You don't have to try to mega mind it. You don't have to try to galaxy brain your boosters. You could be like, my top guy, rounds 1 through 6, just boosters applied, how you draft it. That's fine. But I just love the mix up that it takes. So you can have mirrored rosters, but your boosters are different, so it gives you a different feel. So it's my favorite contest out there right now. Like I said, I love the DFS over on Fast Draft. So jump into the week 5 contest on the Flex 6 frenzy to join me and try to take me down. Again, code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match there. Alex, I see the more I research, the more I like Slayton. I do like Slayton. I do think that he steps in to the Malik Neighbors role, like the closest 1-for-1 we have out there. We saw it a little bit last season, and we've seen it when he was, before Neighbors even got there. Like, he's been able to produce. He's had games, he's had stretches where he's looked good. But my only concern right now is I don't know how much Jackson Dart is going to air it out. And I don't know if this is the matchup in week 5 where he begins to air it out, because I just don't think that they're going to need to. I think that it's very much going to be Dart and Scatabo running the ball a combined 35 plus times. That's my prediction here, but we'll talk a little bit more about Dart. We'll talk a little bit more about the Giants a little bit later. We got Jonathan Santiago here. I'm 4-0. Would you trade Pickens, Mason, and Charbonnet for Quentin Johnson and Chris Godwin? If you got a plethora of running backs and you really need some wide receiver depth, sure. I don't really like this trade. I'm not a big fan of it, because I think Pickens and Quentin Johnston are very similar. QJ's obviously having this much like a crazy strong start. But I think that it's going to be a little bit more of like a seesaw type deal for Quentin Johnston this year with Keenan. And I think we're going to see Ladd start to come out a little bit more now that Quentin Johnston is demanding attention from defenses. I think that Pickens is locked in for at least 3 more weeks. So I think I hold right now, unless you are just abundantly like gushing running backs and you need wide receiver depth. Because Chris Godwin, yes, 10 targets, didn't do much with it, but then we also have Mike Evans coming back anytime now. So I would personally hold unless I desperately need it. You got Jacobs, Mason, Charbonnet, and both Arizona running backs. Wide receivers, St. Brown, Sutton, Pickens, and Waddell. No, I'm not doing that trade with the room that you got there. You would have 0 running backs after that. I get it. Jordan Mason and Charbonnet aren't the most consistent, but they're much better than both the Arizona running backs right now. I would keep them. And I mean, you got St. Brown and Sutton and Pickens. You don't need depth. That trade would be a wide receiver depth trade, and I don't like that. Cook and Jacobs are 0 RBs. What? Oh no! If you trade Mason and Charbonnet, you would have no depth. You would have the Arizona running backs as depth. And I mean, St. Brown, Sutton, and Pickens are just as good. So I'm holding there. I'm not doing that trade. If you want to try to send out those running backs more, I would try to package for someone like a clear tier up. If you're sending away Pickens, like I said, I think Pickens and Huge are on the same level right now. We got Huz traded Chase, Igbuka, and Scatabo for Jettas, Chase Brown, and Rice. Okay. I have Nico Rome, T-Mac, and BTJ on my team already. Did I win? Yeah. I think it's I think it's kind of a wash. I think Scatabo is much better than Chase Brown right now. Rice, we think, is going to come in and just completely smash. I do like getting out of Chase, but I would say you won overall if you have if you got the running back depth to sit and wait on Chase Brown. But I think it was a pretty even trade. I don't think that anyone walks away from there disappointed. So solid trade. I dig it. Morning MV Prof, how we doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Bijan, Taylor, and Judkins are running back. So yeah, so you got the running back depth to do that. I think that's a win there for you. But I still think it's an even trade. So I don't think you. I think you did a good job there. MV Prof, did you miss the Carter or Demercado discussion? Yes, I went over that in the news. I ran a poll on it on the Profiler Now page of who you're starting, and I included the Tampa backups as well. But Demercado and Carter were very, very close. I'm personally leaning Demercado just because he seems to be the most trusted, but I really think it's going to be a pretty damn near close split. And in a plus matchup, it could lean more Michael Carter with them running the clock out. But if Tennessee decides to put up a fight randomly, we could see some more Demercado. But I'm sticking Demercado for now. But it's real close. It's really, really close. Let's see here. We got one last thing before I jump into the start sits. DeAndre Swift season with the Joe Alt news. Is Hampton a sell high or hold? Chargers #1 in passing rate over expected. Maybe they run a little more, but if they do run more, how bad will the rush O-line be? The rush O-line's been bad already with Joe Alt in. But Hampton has had 2 good games in a row, even with the rough rushing protection. I do think that the Joe Alt will make them probably run a little bit more. But at the same time, even when they are passing, I think it leads to more dump offs for Hampton. There is no pass catching back that's coming in for Hampton. There is no breather back. It's Hampton all the time. I'm sticking with him. I think that he's going to crush the rest of the season because of the fact that he's going to get more involved in the passing game. Like I said, we've seen 2 games in a row now where he's just looked really good. He's looked really efficient. And I think he just keeps that rolling here for the rest of the season. It's tough because of the fact that obviously offensive line affects him. But I think that exactly, yeah, true. More pressures equates to more dump offs. And that's exactly what we're looking for here. I'm going to take a quick peek here to double check what his route percentage has gone from. Yeah. I mean, we've seen his route percentage. He was sticking around 60%. And then last week, it jumped up to 72%. So I think that's going to be a very much big part of his game is going to be the dump off game. He's fully capable. So I wouldn't sell right now. I mean, if you can get a haul for it and you want to, if you're not confident in it, that's fine. It's a great time to sell high. It's not like you're selling low. But personally, I'm holding on and I'm just riding. I'm riding the Hampton wave. I think he's only going to get better as the season goes on and gets more comfortable in the NFL flow. So that's where I'm leaning, especially here. Washington isn't the scariest matchup. They're at home, so I think we see Hampton just continue to get fed here. But I appreciate you guys with all the questions. I love answering them. We're jumping into my own personal start sits of the week. Like I said, I put my own set of rankings out there my own set of weekly rankings out there for the first time on Fantasy Pros. So I just kind of took a look at the ECR and where I have some differences. And starting off at the quarterback position, I'm high on Dak Prescott this week at the New York Giants. Right now, he's ranked as the ECR QB 12. He is my QB 7 right now. So I think that he is very much a start this week. He's a must start this week. And it comes down to the fact that the defense is still calling for shootouts every single week. It doesn't matter. I mean, Green Bay was supposed to be a murder matchup where they just get absolutely smacked up. No Lamb to bail them out. And he still put up 40 points against a good defense. He's low key, I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about it. Dak Prescott is leading the league in attempts, leading the league in yards, and he's number 2 in air yards. So it's not like he's just dink and dunking. It's not like he's playing scared football. He's being Dak Prescott, and he's pushing the ball down the field. He's got George Pickens, so it doesn't even matter if he's open or not. George Pickens will go up and get it. And really, like, Jalen Tolbert has been stepping up pretty good, and Jake Ferguson. I mean, Fergie Ferg is just having a Travis Kelce type year where he is picking his spots in the zone and he's just getting peppered with targets. And I just expect that to continue. I don't think that this defense is stopping anybody. We get the New York Jets here, who not the best offense, but Justin Fields can put up points. Garrett Wilson can put up points. Breece Hall can put up points. So both of these teams are giving up over 30 points per game and have hit the over in 3 out of 4 games. Why would that stop? The one time that the Cowboys didn't hit the over was against the Eagles with the 2-hour lightning delay that completely just threw off the groove of the game. The only time that the Jets didn't hit the over was when when Tyrod Taylor comes in and takes over. So it's very much a battle of teams that aren't really doing a whole lot of stopping, and they're just going. So I think that Dak Prescott continues to perform well here. I think that he is a must start as long as Pickens and Ferguson are out there. He's going to find them. He's going to make sure that they're staying competitive, because I mean, Dak's a good quarterback. He gets so much hate, and I think it's just because he's tied to the Dallas Cowboys. But I think he's a good quarterback. He's very much in the top half of NFL quarterbacks out there, whether or not anyone wants to give him that. And like I said, first in attempts, first in yards, second in air yards. What more do we need to say? That's going to continue. The defense isn't stopping anyone. He needs to for this team to be somewhat competitive. And again, dropped 40 on the Green Bay Packers last week. He's going to keep it going here against the Jets. I think that this is going to be a fun shootout type game here. We got an over-under of 47, which was one of the highest on the week. Not a lot of high-scoring games projected here, but Dallas is definitely one of them up there with a 47 over-under. And I'm looking to lean into that on a weekly basis. Jumping over to my other quarterback, I got another quarterback start for you guys. No sits, really. I didn't have anyone where I was like, I'm not feeling it. But I'm starting Jackson Dart against New Orleans. He is the ECR QB 14. I got him in my top 12 right now. I got him in my top 10. I think he is QB 10 on the week. And I think it's all because of the rushing. I think that I think we got a good matchup here. This is going to be like a tune-up type game to give him some confidence. They're going to want to get him going. They're going to want to get him some easy looks in the passing game. And I mean, we saw it last week. They have a ton of designed runs for him. When they were plugging him in with Russell Wilson, they were plugging in Dart to do designed runs, and that's just going to continue. I think I saw Alex, you talked about it. He got hit a ton last week. I don't think he cares. He does not give a damn about it. I know that the Giants are probably holding their breath and whispering in Dayball's ear like, this is a lost season. Don't be running them into people like that. But I mean, we've seen Dart and Scatabo. They are just some crayon eating dudes, man. They just want to win football games. They don't care if they're taking a beating doing it. And I think we just see more of that. I think even if they don't do as many designed runs, he's going to scramble because he's a rookie. He's a rookie with wheels. He's a rookie. I mean, he's not the fastest, but he's confident with his feet. So I don't think with Neighbors out, we see them lean into the full passing game. I like Slayton. I like Wandale, but they're not superstars that are going to be a smokescreen cover for Dart's getting used to the NFL flow of passing. I do think that we see some shots to Slayton deep. I think we got Jalen Hyatt out there as well, who can be a burner. I think we see some deep shots like we did in college from Jackson Dart, who, I mean, he was a great college quarterback, especially his senior season. He was leading in attempts per yards per attempt. I think he was like top 5 in that. If I was reading that correctly. So I think that the passing ceiling might be a little bit capped with no Neighbors, but the rushing floor, the rushing upside, it's too big to ignore. He's already got 3 red zone carries and a healthy amount of designed runs. So I'm fully confident starting him up here against a bad team in the New Orleans Saints. I think that the Giants defense keeps everything in check here. So even if Dart gets off to a slow start, I think by the second half, he's feeling more confident, he's feeling more comfortable, and he's running when he needs to, providing a good fantasy floor and a fantasy ceiling. MV Prof, we got Bo Nix or Jackson Dart. I'm pretty sure I got Dart ahead. Let me pull up my rankings real quick and double check that. Yeah, I got Bo Nix pretty low this week. I got Nix down at QB 15 this week. I get that that's probably a bit lower than other people want to see him, but I just think that the Philadelphia defense it's stout, and I think that we got a battle of two good defenses here. I think it's going to be a lot of running backs on Sunday between Philly and Denver, and I feel like it's going to be another one of those games that kind of gets dragged down into the mud. We're sitting here looking at an over-under of 43.5, so that does not scream to me an offensive shootout here. So I would definitely go. I'm going Dart over Nix right now. Obviously, I could be wrong. Nix had his tune-up game last week and looked great, but I just think that we see a little bit more pressure out of Philadelphia than we do Cincinnati. So I think that's going to be a big factor, and I think they're going to be leaning on Dobbins and Harvey a bit more. So I'm going Dart this week. Moving on to the running back position, though, I'm going to go ahead and give you my first sit. And we've been talking about him a little bit because people have been trading for him, and I've talked about him quite a bit because I was very high on this guy all the way through draft season, thought he was going to go ahead and turn it around even with Joe Burrow going down just out of pure volume, and he's been getting the volume. But Chase Brown is a sit for me against the Detroit Lions. We've seen Detroit shut down strong running games. I mean, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson had a rough game. Josh Jacobs had a solid game. DeAndre Swift and Kinshaw Judkins. Those are four good to great running backs right there. And Detroit is still number 7 in rush yards allowed. So I think that Chase Brown is in for another tough day. He's probably going to get the volume, but I don't think it's going to mean anything. It was nice to see we saw his route participation spike in week 4, but he still only got 3 targets. And it's just, until a change happens, it's going to be, until a change happens at quarterback, or they can bring in an offensive lineman or something in Cincinnati. I think we've seen what Chase Brown is going to be, and it's going to be high volume, low efficiency garbage. I don't know how anyone can start him this week unless it's just pure necessity. So I am not looking to start him this game. I think that the Detroit Lions just absolutely dominate here, and it's going to be a ton of passing out of Jake Browning in Cincinnati, and that's never a good thing. So I'm really worried here. Vic, I am right there with you. Could have drafted Achane in 3 out of 4 leagues instead of Chase Brown. I bumped Chase Brown up ahead of Achane because I was worried about the Miami Dolphins offense falling apart. Little did I know Joe Burrow was going to just completely rip his toe off and be gone and destroy this Cincinnati Bengals offense production. So I'm right there with you. I am crying every time in the shower I think about it. And we're here, we're living, we're trying to make moves. But yeah, no, definitely sitting him here. He is the ECR running back 24. So they still, Fantasy Pros experts still have him as a RB2. He's my RB28. And that's just out of the fact that it's pure volume. We know that he's going to get volume, but it's not going to be anything worth a damn. So if you're looking for a high swing, if your lineup's already beat up and you need a higher point total, like a home run swing, don't go Chase Brown. I don't think that it's there. I don't think it's in the cards. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals are just god awful right now. I mean, they're averaging 15 points per game. That's atrocious. That's sad. That's the lowest in the league by, not by quite a bit, but it's low. It's bad. So I'm sitting Chase Brown this week in a bad matchup. Obviously, if he starts to get more targets, great, but I'm not starting him until I see something that gives me a little bit of life. But on the flip side, start David Montgomery. This is just I'm a little bit confused why he's the RB21 in the rankings. He's my RB15. I think that this is the smashiest of smash spots for Demont. People are going to be scared off. I get it. I guess it's because of last week where he had the 1.5 points, but that was against the Cleveland Browns, who have stopped every running back that they've gone up against. And it just, the matchup wasn't right for David Montgomery last week. It just wasn't. Like, you don't run up the gut against Cleveland and have any success. But against Cincinnati, you have a ton of success. The Cleveland Browns are the third best defense against running backs all season. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Cincinnati is the second best offense. The Cincinnati Bengals are the second best offense to target for running backs. I mean, people were disappointed last week with J.K. Dobbins having a 100-yard game. And then that's not factoring into the, like, accounting for the fact that RJ Harvey had 98 yards on his own. So it's definitely one of those things where we could just see a straight up Sonic and Knuckles get the ball over and over and over and over and over. And they just continue to run through Cincinnati over and over and over. Marshawn Lynch style. It just doesn't feel like a fair fight. I saw an interview with David Montgomery. This is a homecoming for him. He's going to have family in the stands. He's going to want to show out. And I know that's narrative street. I don't give a damn. In a game like this, the stats say it's going to smash, and then you add a narrative on top of that. And I'm there. Outside of week 1 for the Detroit Lions, which if you look at the Detroit Lions season, I am taking week 1. I'm crumpling it up in a little ball, and I'm chucking that damn thing way out of here. Doesn't matter. Week 1 was bad. I get it. We can't completely ignore it, but I'm ignoring it because they've looked incredible ever since. And where in week 1 they were down out of the gate. Like, it was not a running game for the Detroit Lions in week 1, but ever since then, weeks 2 through 4, they are handing the ball off 48% of the time to the running back. That's great. In a matchup like this, it could very much be like the Baltimore game where 55% of the offensive plays are to handing the ball off to the running backs. I very much see this being David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, who is my RB1 on the week, just completely taking this over. We could see another 4-touchdown week out of Demont and Jahmyr. Sonic and Knuckles all the way. I'm starting both of these guys with a ton of confidence. A little bit scared off of the passing game outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, just because we've seen in these games where it is Monty and Ja that it very much turns into low volume for Jared Goff, and just he doesn't need to get a ton of yards. He doesn't need to get a ton of touchdowns. So unless Goff has a bunch of touchdowns, I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is the only passing option that I'm going with for Detroit here. Coming back here, we got Huz again. Rest of the season compared Chase Brown and Scatabo. Does Dart starting and Tracy returning put Brown ahead? I don't think so. I think I'd rather have Scatabo rest of the season. Even with Tyrone Tracy coming back, I think Scatabo has shown that he is very much capable. I get that Tyrone Tracy didn't look bad when he was there. And I think that we do see a little bit more of a split. But I think that the starting of Dart honestly makes them want to hand the ball to Scatabo and Tracy more. To kind of just shield Dart, not make him have to throw the ball a ton, not make him have to hold the ball a ton. I think Chase Brown will end the year with more volume, but like I said, unless I see a change come out of Cincinnati at the quarterback position or offensive scheming to just get something going, I don't want it. If I can get Scatabo right now for Chase Brown, I might just take that. So that's where I'm at right there for rest of the season. Frizzy LL coming back. We got Chase Brown or Travion Henderson or Malik in the flex. Ooh, those are all kind of gross. I think Chase Brown's the safest volume, but I like I said, I don't want to start him. If we're looking at if we're looking at my rankings, what do I got these guys at? I think I still have Chase Brown over Travion technically. No, I have Travion Henderson over Chase Brown this week at running back 26 compared to running back 28. I get it. It's a gross split right now in New England. No one's really separated themselves, but I think that Henderson's going to have an opportunity here. I think Buffalo, like I said, I think New England's got to score. And so I'm leaning more into who can get me a touchdown in that. And I would probably go Travion Henderson. If it's full PPR, I'd go Malik in full PPR. If it's half PPR, I'm sticking with Travion Henderson there. Thank you guys for the questions. Moving on to the wide receiver position. I got another sit for you guys here, and it's going to be Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers versus Houston. He is ranked very highly, in my opinion. He's ranked as the wide receiver 14. According to ECR, he's my wide receiver 20, and I don't like Zay Flowers. I don't like Baltimore a lot this week outside of Derrick Henry. I think that Derrick Henry is going to be the offensive game plan. With no Lamar Jackson, who I don't think he's been officially ruled out yet, but he's not playing. It's going to be Cooper Rush back there in a gross matchup. Houston's been good against the pass, and I think Cooper Rush is a fully capable backup. He knows to feed his star wide receiver. Zay Flowers is going to be the CeeDee Lamb that we've seen Cooper Rush feed, but I also don't know how much Baltimore is going to give Rush the opportunity to throw the ball. I think that this very much this is a matchup where both teams are weak on defense against the run. Baltimore's just weak everywhere because of injuries and just bad defensive scheming. So I do not expect the passing game for the Baltimore Ravens to be a highlight here, especially because Zay Flowers isn't really a downfield guy still. He's number 61 out of all wide receivers so far this year in average depth of target. He's only got a 9.5 yard ADOT, and that's bad. That's low. If he's not getting yacked, if he's not busting off a big run like he was in weeks 1 and 2, you're sitting there and you're just going to be stuck with a bunch of empty volume. I don't see, like I said, I don't see the volume to make Zay Flowers a must start this week. I think he's a low, a decent floor, low ceiling play right now. And I do think that this offense runs through Derrick Henry this week. And it's another game where, we're looking at just a very low over under. We're just looking at a very low scoring game that's not really going to be exciting. There's a ton of these right now in week 5. Week 5 is going to be, unless these teams come out and just completely surprise, it's going to be a gross slate of games here. Yeah, over under a 43 right now for the Baltimore Houston game, and that's gnarly. So looking to avoid this game outside of Derrick Henry in general, or on the flip side, the Houston, I like Woody Marks. I even like Nick Chubb as a flex running back, and I like obviously Nico Collins as a wide receiver. But outside of those 3 guys, or those 4 guys with Henry included, it's gross. Prof, would I drop Bill for Demercado or Carter? I wouldn't. I know that they're going to get 4 weeks here, but I don't think it's tough because we know when Trey Benson comes back, he's going to take back over. Whereas with Bill, we think that it's going to start to increase. We don't know. It's still 30-30-30. It's gross, but we also haven't seen Jaden Daniels back, which we're supposed to see this week. So I personally prefer Bill just because I want the higher. If this is a stash, again, if you need to start someone this week, I'd probably try to make a move for one of these guys, whoever you're more confident in. Like I said, I'm more confident in Demercado. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think that they have an output. Unless one of them gets a touchdown, they have an output very similar to Bill. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'd rather hold on to Bill for a stash just because I think long-term, in the next 4 weeks, yeah, if it's just a stash, I'm sticking with Bill because Demercado and Carter are great for these 4 weeks that Trey Benson's out, but then it's going to be Trey Benson back again. So I don't expect either of these guys to really take over and make it where you're sitting there oh no. So I'm holding Bill in that situation. We got Marissa. Are you playing Demercado or Nick Chubb this week? It's gross, but here we are. Woo. Let me see what I got in my ranks because that's a close one. I got him back to back in my ranks right now. I was gonna bump Demercado down just a little bit because of all the Michael Carter talk. So I'm probably leaning Nick Chubb. I think that both Chubb and Marks get a decent amount of a work here. And we saw David Montgomery bust off some crazy runs on Baltimore that defensive line is hurting. The linebackers are hurting. So I think that Houston's game plan is very much going to be run, run, run. And we could see Nick Chubb perform pretty well here. So I'm going to go with Nick Chubb. If you need a crazy high ceiling swing, I think Demercado probably, like, if he is like the 60% 1A back, has a higher ceiling. But I just think that Nick Chubb is going to be the better option this week. Flipping back over to what I got, I think I'm going to go with Stefon Diggs as my wide receiver start against the Buffalo Bills. Diggs seems to be fully back from his injury. He got the most amount of snaps and he had the most amount of air yards that we've seen out of him all season. That happened last week. He had tied for the most amount of targets. He was very much clearly the guy that Drake May was looking to often. Drake May's been talking about him all week in the interviews and into the media. So I think that this is the official start of Stefon Diggs' season. We knew that he was kind of dealing with the coming back from the ACL early on, but he was still out there. So everyone was probably disappointed in the early production. But right now he is the ECR wide receiver 30 on the week, but he is my wide receiver 26. And like I said, I think he's back. I think he's back full bore. And Buffalo is going to force New England to pass the ball. I don't think that this is going to be a low scoring game. I think that this is very much one of the higher scoring games that we see. It is the highest point projection on the week of 49.5 here. Both offenses can score. Both defenses dealing with injuries still. We saw Ed Oliver back out there for the Buffalo Bills at practice, but he's still not a guarantee. So I think that we see quite a bit of points in this game. And again, I think that New England's going to be playing catch up a lot, and that's very much feeds into Stefon Diggs performing. And I'm back once again with Narrative Street. Revenge game. It is the Stefon Diggs revenge game. He's going to want to show out. He's going to be in Drake May's ear like, hey, get me the ball. I want to make these fools look silly. Because we know that he left Buffalo and there was all sorts of locker room issues, and he's going to want to show out. He's going to want to be like, I'm good. He didn't get the opportunity last season with the ACL tear, so he's going to want to do it this week. And honestly, like the way that the Bills are playing defense, they're playing more man than we've typically seen from them. It's still not like primarily man, but normally we see like 25-30% man coverage from Buffalo. And they're right now at about a 50-50 split between zone and man. And so if they're trying to play man against Stefon Diggs, that's not a great idea right now. He is top 10 in separation against man and yards per route run versus man. So I definitely think that Diggs is going to be hammered with targets. He's going to be out there a ton. And I think that it's going to be a lot of passing in this game. And I'm hoping a lot of scoring. I'm hoping that this game does not disappoint with it being one of the only high over-unders of the week. We can't have a disappointing one here. So looking for Diggs to have a good week here. Start him with confidence. Going to bounce back here. We got Frizzy LL, single QB. You got Drake May on waivers is Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart, and Stafford left. Is there a mustache? Or you can leave them out there. I won't use them until Drake May bye week. If you're just going to roll with Drake May, just roll with Drake May. If I would scoop any of those, it'd be Jackson Dart. But he might be out there whenever, if it is, you're just looking for to hold until May's bye week. Just wait until May's bye week, or like the week before. When is the New England bye week? I guess that should be the first question. Is it next week? Let's take a look here. When is New England bye? No, New England's bye is until week 14. If you're trying to stash a quarterback for 10 weeks now, don't do it. Just wait and see what's out there. Once you get closer to May's bye week, if you do want to keep a quarterback to play matchups, Jackson Dart would be who I'd take because he's got the rushing upside. Delta Blue, in a non-PPR league, you were offered Jordan Mason and Matthew Golden. He wants one of your receivers of Pickens, McMillan, or and Tootin. I'm not doing that. I'd rather keep Pickens and T-Mac and Tootin than get Jordan Mason and Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden, especially in a standard league, is not someone that I'm looking to have. Jordan Mason, good for standard leagues because he's just going to be getting volume, but Aaron Jones is coming back soon. We haven't seen Jordan Mason do enough to really solidify his chokehold on that RB1 spot, so I'd rather stick with Pickens, McMillan, and Tootin there. I don't think that trade is worth it. Just hold with what you got there. Flipping over to the tight end position, I am going to sit here and I'm going to say, go start Darren Waller. I get it. It was 1 week. He had 4 targets and he barely ran any of the snaps. But that was his first week back in 2 years. I don't think he has an option to slow roll it moving forward here. With Tyreek Hill out, I think that if he is, like I said, if he's physically able to be out there and do more, he's going to get more than 28% of the snaps. He's going to get more than 4 targets. He seems to be slotting directly into the Jonnu Smith role that we saw last year, and Tua loves that role. And I think at worst, even if he does if he's just now getting slow rolled into the offense, I think that he is very much a candidate for a weekly touchdown. Again, 4 targets, 2 of them in the end zone, caught for touchdowns. So I think that he's someone that you got to start because it's gross out there in tight end land, especially, like I said, we got Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts on bye. We got Cole Kmet on bye. So a lot of guys out there on bye. And I have Darren Waller right now as my tight end 10 on the week. Again, I think he's set up to get at least 1 touchdown this week at a minimum. And I think that his role continues to expand as the season goes on. So stash him now if you have someone good and play him if you don't, because he's got a good a shot as anybody else out there right now for a touchdown. MV Prof, are we starting T-Mac or QJ this week? QJ. You can't bench QJ right now. No. I love T-Mac, but Bryce Young makes me hate watching T-Mac because it's ugly. QJ, wide receiver 4 on the year right now, and just continues to dominate. I think with Jaden Daniels back, we could see a little bit of a shootout here with the Chargers and the Commanders. So I'm sticking with Huge. He's doing it all over the field. He's having the full breakout. So until Bryce Young can show me that he's good enough to support T-Mac, I'm sticking with Huge there. Let's see, Frizzy. Wide receiver room is CD, Drake London, Golden, Keon, and now Slayton and Malik. Should I look to add Jalen Coker over one of them rest of season? If you were going to stash one of them, I would stash Coker over Malik. I don't think it makes too big of a difference, really. I don't think Coker is going to go back to what we saw last season. That was kind of out of necessity, out of not having anyone else out there. So if you are going to it, I would take Coker over Malik, but I don't think it really matters with the guys you got out there. I like Slayton over all 3 of them, or over the other 2. But yeah, if you're looking for a stash, I'd take Coker, but it's kind of iffy either way. Oh, we got a Facebook comment out there. Let's go. We got Christian over on Facebook. Appreciate you tuning in here. Which tight end should you keep, Andrews or Ertz? With Isaiah likely back, I think everyone's going to be kind of afraid to go to Mark Andrews. But I still think that I think he's the higher upside play just because of the touchdowns. We've seen him be the red zone guy repeatedly. Ertz is also the red zone guy for Washington, but I just don't. I don't have a whole lot of confidence there with him. I think that, again, I get it. We haven't had Jaden Daniels out there, so it's not really like it hasn't been the true Washington offense that we're seeing. But Ertz just isn't the same. He's still at like a 60% snap share, and the targets haven't been anything crazy outside of week 2 against Green Bay. Where they were playing from behind the whole time. So I think I'm leaning Andrews, keeping Andrews there. I get it. Likely's coming back, and that caps him, but I think he's still at that cap about the same level as Ertz, and I trust Baltimore to get right before Ertz does. Appreciate you tuning in, though, Christian. Appreciate you coming over on the Facebook channel. Appreciate that. We got Trone Force. Would you trade CMC, McLaurin, and Bill Krosky for James Cook, London, and Rashee Rice? Oh, I think I would. I think James Cook is crushing it. Obviously, he is not CMC, but I think that he is still set up to have a great season. Buffalo's looking great. I think London over McLaurin, and I think Rashee Rice well over Bill Krosky merit, especially in full PPR. So I do that. You're getting rid of the the RB1 overall, but you're not downgrading too much. You're getting a top 3, top 5 at worst running back with James Cook. How my tone has changed on James Cook. It hurts me to bring up my biggest L of the offseason with James Cook, but I definitely do that trade. I think that's a good one for you. Like I said, you downgrade slightly at running back, but you get a big boost with London and Rashee Rice over McLaurin and Bill Krosky. So I like that for you. MB Prof, are we starting him over Strange? Yes, I'm starting him over Strange. I think Strange is Strange is strange. I feel like the peripherals say Strange is doing good, but it's just I'm not bought in yet. 7 targets is great. He's been consistently there. He's on the field a ton. He's doing a lot of blocking, which kind of makes me feel So I'm going with Waller there for the ceiling. I want the touchdowns, and I think that I think Waller's got a better shot at it. And like I said, I think we start to see the involvement from Darren Waller. Last week was his first game back, so obviously low involvement, but I think we just start to see it build up. But I'm still starting him. I'm going with Waller this week over Strange. Still. For my tight end sit, it's actually going to be Dallas Goedert going up against Denver. It looked great last week. Obviously, he was tight end one on the week, 2 touchdowns. Same thing as Darren Waller. I get it. Like, why are you saying prop up Darren Waller but not Dallas Goedert? It's because I think Darren Waller is a necessity to that Miami Dolphins offense right now with Tyreek Hill going out, and I think that Dallas Goedert was just a beneficiary of being there. We got all the indicators that this is going to be an AJ Brown squeaky wheel type game. And again, I think that this is a very low scoring game with Denver. And I think we see a lot more running and just a low scoring game here. I like Goddard. I like the fact that he has the potential, but I just don't think that this is the matchup to try to target him at. Right now, he is my tight end 12, so he's still startable. Like, if you have him, I'm still starting him over like a Hawkinson, a Fannin, an Ertz, Strange, Taylor, like all of these fringier guys. I'm starting him over. But if I have Waller, I'm starting Waller. If I have Jauan Johnson, I'm starting Jauan Johnson. Like Dalton Kincaid, it's an obvious start over him. Like these guys, I'm just not confident in Dallas Goedert this week. Like I said, we got the 2 touchdowns last week, but it was on 4 targets. And I just think that the matchup called for it last week, whereas it does not here. We're going to see a run heavy game. If we see the shootout, I'll be shocked. So I'm benching Dallas Goedert this week for some different higher ceiling options. Again, I just don't think that this is the matchup to target to be targeting. Denver is giving up, where are we at? 6.3 points per game to the tight end. So it very much just screams to me AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts game. I don't think that we see a ton of points. And if we do, I think that it's very much going to be AJ Brown in Hurts' ear, tell him to get the damn ball. So that's where I'm going there. I'm benching Dallas Goedert versus Denver this week. James Coffey in full PPR. If you have WB, what is WB? My brain's not working right now. What's WB? Josh Allen, would you trade away Jalen Hurts? What? You have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts? Good Lord. Jalen Hurts, George Pickens, Jordan Mason for Derrick Henry and Ladd McConkey if your team is weak at running back. That seems like a lot to be given up for Henry and McConkey, but I would be looking for a little bit more, but I do like that upgrade from Henry to Mason. Obviously, I think that Henry's got some better games ahead of him, but he could also just keep disappearing due to game script. Ladd McConkey, I don't. Yeah, that's gotta. It seems like a one of those lower team leagues where you kind of want to consolidate yourself here. So if you don't need Jordan Mason and you're trying to upgrade to Derrick Henry, I think that it's fine. It seems even, but I I feel like your side's still a little bit better, but if you're desperate for the running back help, I don't hate it there. I just feel like you could buy a little bit lower on Derrick Henry and Ladd McConkey right now than giving up Hurts and Pickens in that trade. So it's a tough call. If you feel like it betters your team, if you're really desperate at running back, I say do it. But I think that there might be some better deals out there if you can survive one more week. Jelly of the month, DST pickup Houston with Lamar out, Colts, Philly, or the Rams. I'm going with the Rams. I think that they are going to swarm the backups of the San Francisco 49ers tonight. Taking a look at my defensive rankings. Yeah, I got the Rams the highest out of those 4 that you listed there. They're my defense number 7 this week. With Lamar being out, Houston does seem like they could have like a higher ceiling play, but they're also weak against the run. So we could very much see Derrick Henry put up 202 on them. So not feeling the most confident with the Houston Texans, who are a good defense, but I think that they're still susceptible to the run, and it's in Baltimore. So definitely looking to go with the Rams there out of those 4. Actually, I'm sorry. Philly. I didn't realize Philly was in that list too. Philly is my number 5 defense on the week. Again, I think it's just a low. If you want ceiling, go for the Rams. If you're just looking for a base amount of points from your defense, I'd go with the Eagles, because that Eagles defense is crazy strong. But if you want to try to get some extra turnover points, or maybe even some extra sack points or something like that, I would go with the Rams. So it's a toss up on what you're feeling. If you want, like I said, ceiling, go Rams. If you just want consistent, go Philly. MV Prof, you're who we can blame for Jamar Chase and Derrick Henry. I got Derrick Henry in quite a few spots, so I will go ahead and use you as my scapegoat there, because it can't be me. It can't be me. Drone Force, we got bye weeks and injuries. What 2 wide receivers would you start? We got in full PPR, Wandale, Cup, Mims, or Travis Hunter. Or should I pick up someone off the waiver wires like Westbrook Akine? No. Downs? No. Alec Pierce, Hail Mary shot there, or Demarcus Robinson? I'm sticking with Wandale there. We have to do 2, so I would pick Wandale for sure. And I probably what is Travis Hunter's targets looking like? I feel like it's growing, but it's not great. No, I still can't start Travis Hunter. That breaks my heart to say. I'm definitely going Wandale as a guarantee there. Wandale a guarantee, and let's see. We got Seattle versus Tampa Bay. That could be a shootout. Tampa Bay is not the best against the wide receiver. And then Mims has got the tough matchup here, but they might need to pass. I think I'm going to go Wandale, and I'm going to go Cup. It's not pretty. If you do want to go for a crazy high ceiling play, I would go Alec Pierce. I think he's back from a concussion, so it's not like he's coming. I don't think that he's going to be like slow to come back. I think he's full force as long as he's practiced in full, which I think he has been. So if you are going to drop someone, if you have an extra spot to burn, I would go snag Alec Pierce and go there. But if you're just looking to stick with your guys, you got Wandale's a must start, and then I'm leaning Cup. It's between Cup or Mims. Travis Hunter, unfortunately, is just not even in consideration for me out of those 4. So I would lean Wandale Cup, but I don't blame you for going Wandale Mims or going for Wandale Pierce there. Frizzy, we got, would you sell Woody Marks or Travion to get Ladd McConkey? If you need wide receiver help, I'd probably. That's tough, because I like both these running backs, and I think that Ladd is a decent buy low. I think you can sell either one of them. Whoever you're less confident in. I think Travion might not have the season that everyone's expecting at the end of the year. It seems like Gibson and Stevenson are hanging around, whereas Chubb is kind of fallen off. And I don't think we see I don't think we see Joe Mixon come back this season at all. So Woody could be just league winner off the waiver wire type guy. So I think you can sell. I would sell Travion to get Ladd McConkey or Marks, honestly, whichever one you're less confident in rest of seasons. I think that's perfectly fine and fair if you need the wide receiver help. Tingley, we got, should you drop Mandrews or Jauan Johnson to pick up Rachaad in full PPR? I probably drop Mark Andrews. With Isaiah likely coming back, I think he's just going to be a lot less consistent. You're just going to be kind of waiting to see when he gets a touchdown. So I'm dropping Andrews there. I'm starting Jauan Johnson in full PPR and just racking up those easy floor points right there and holding on to Rachaad White. 100%. That's what I'm doing. It took me a second because I was just like, Andrews still has the name, man, that I hold on to and the touchdowns. But yeah, going hold Johnson, drop Andrews, pick up Rachaad like that there. Alex, you have to start Travis Hunter this week. I hope that this is the week that he finally shows out, but Trevor Lawrence just makes me feel gross. Jelly of the month bench wide receivers Malik Washington dropped Jauan Jennings, who was just dropped since out. Coker is also on the wire. I don't really want to grab Jauan Jennings right now. Like, I get it. Like, when he comes back, he should be fine, but he seems to be fully injured right now. So I think I would stick with Washington or Coker. If you aren't confident in Washington, I would go grab Coker. You might be able to let Coker sit out there for another week, and wait and see what Washington is. But I got Jauan Jennings, and I'm looking to drop him right now. So not a big fan there. So either hold or go grab Coker. But I think that Washington's got a really interesting opportunity here with no Tyreek Hill, but we could just see it be Darren Waller who steps into the target share that is open there. So that's where we're at. Let's see. We got Trone Force. Taysom is returning for the Saints too. I'm not picking up Taysom Hill. Not with that offense right now. Would you do Woody and Travion for Jamar Chase? I mean, that one feels kind of grosser. I still would, just because, I mean, it's Jamar Chase, and we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like. So I would probably do, again, either one of those. Oh, and Travion for Jamar Chase. No, I don't think I would do both of them unless you, have an abundance of running backs where you just aren't ever going to start these two guys. This is what you do. You trade, you package them to go get a bigger guy like that. So if you got the running back depth to do it, I would do it. Yeah, agreed with MB Prof here. Chase isn't being shadowed by Surtain. I know that Jake Browning is terrible. He sucks. He's not getting the job done. But I do think that Cincinnati is going through a bit of a tough stretch in terms of matchups, and it should start to turn around here soon. Why can't? Oh my gosh. Let me take a look at the schedule here. But yeah, I think Cincinnati is going to start to get it together a little bit. And I say that, and then I see that they get the Packers right after the Lions. Terrible. Steelers, solid matchup. Jets, solid matchup. Bears, solid matchup. So they get four solid matchups right after. So I think better times are coming for Chase. So now is the right time to buy in on that. So I would go ahead and make that trade. We got Martin your friend wants to trade you CMC for Chase and Bucky. Should you do it? I love holding on to CMC right now, but Bucky is still a top 12 running back when healthy, and Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. So if you need the depth, sure, but I want to hold on to CMC, honestly. Like, the dude's getting fed. The only fear is he gets hurt. But it seems as if the Kyle Shanahan sacrificing the rest of the San Francisco 49ers to keep CMC healthy is working. So I think I hold on to CMC there. But if you need depth, sure. If you need some help with depth, but I think I'm sticking with CMC there. You have Chase and Bucky and good depth. Oh, you are going to be getting CMC. I might do that. I don't feel great about it, just because I think Jamar Chase, you would be selling low on Jamar Chase, and that's tough. If you can hold out, if you still have the depth to hold out, I would wait for Chase to have a good week and then try to sell higher. If you want to go get CMC, go get CMC. Like, anytime you can do a 2-for-1, that's great. And right now we don't know how long the severity of Bucky's injury. So you know what? trade a hurt guy and a guy with a terrible quarterback for CMC. Yeah, I do it. I go get CMC. Yeah. Sorry, gonna jump back over to finish off these here. We're coming up on an hour and a half, and I gotta get going. But talked about a little bit earlier. I'm starting the LA Rams versus San Francisco. The backup crew is in for San Francisco. It's a short week. It's going to be a gross looking game for San Francisco. And I think that this LA Rams defense is just one of the best in the league right now, quietly. And looking at guys, I feel like I don't have to go too much more into that. Like I said, high ceiling play right now is the LA Rams. On the flip side, I got Seattle versus Tampa Bay. I'm looking to sit them. Seattle's defense is ranked fairly high right now. But I'm not looking to start them against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa's starting to get cooking. I get it, Bucky out, but we still have Godwin with a week back. We have Igbuka, and we got Baker Mayfield, who just gets things done. So I think that this game is a little bit higher scoring than expected. Right now, they're sitting at a 44.5 over under, which is kind of middle of the road. It's higher end for this week. But I think that they go ahead and hit the over in this game. I think we see a little bit more fireworks here. Both these teams have hit the over in 2 of their 4 weeks. So I think we see that again in Seattle. And so I don't think that this is a very good spot for the Seattle defense. I think it's a low floor, low ceiling type of play because we know Tampa Bay can explode any given week. And that brings us here to my week 5 espresso shot. Like I said, I got 3 espresso shots on the year. I'm 1 for 2. I went a little crazy. I was super close on the QJ one. So just right there. Called for a top 20. But I think that this week, for week 5, the espresso shot is Marvin Harrison Jr. Right now, he is my wide receiver 17 on the week. I think that he is going to be I think he's got a good shot at being much higher than that. He is the consensus. Oh, he's wide receiver 16 consensus. Now, when did that happen? That got updated because I had him higher than consensus, but now he is there. So got to adjust a little bit. But I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to build on his touchdown catching touching game last week. And I think he's going to be back. The target share has gone up. He is very much getting the targets. He's got a 26% target share last week. And I think that's going to be where he's going to be kind of staying. So I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is a wide receiver 1 this week. I think he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver at the upper end. And that is my espresso shot for the week. Median projection has him at wide receiver 17 for me, wide receiver 16. But I think that he's got the shot at top 10. I think that's where he's going to be. I think he's going to catch at least 1 more touchdown, and he's going to get the yardage in another get-right game. We saw the second half last week, and I think he's just going to roll that forward into this tune-up matchup that Arizona has against the Tennessee Titans. So book it, bank it, start Marv Jr. Don't be afraid. But that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you all coming out. As always, I love the start-sit questions, love the trade questions, love all of the questions that you guys bring. It really helps this Thursday show just be fun for me. Like, it's not just me doing my research and coming to you guys and just blabbing. I get to interact. So please keep it coming. If you like the video, please physically like the video on YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Profiler Now page so you can catch me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Again, follow me at JOwens_FF on Twitter. Follow me on TikTok at JOwensFF. And if you're going to jump into the Fast Draft streets this week, use code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match. I will catch you guys on Tuesday to go over where we were right and where we were wrong. Peace, guys.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.